I hope that's all current. They played for audiences reaching into the millions, but the band is most proud, I think, of its humanitarian efforts, raising over $200,000 for the victims of the hurricanes Katrina and Rita, encouraging over 15,000 fans to sponsor children across the globe through World Vision. The band is third day, and some of its members are here. Maybe all its members are here. One of the members in particular, Tai Anderson, has personally been to northern Uganda. And while we're here, the whole reason we're here, he's actually been there and he's seen it. And I'm gonna invite him up and let him kind of introduce the rest of the band and talk about what he saw in northern Uganda. So here's Tai Anderson.
The first member of Third Day to introduce, who has a platinum record on his wall and a heart of gold. That was a great line. I mean, did our people write that? Because that just it smells like it came out of Nashville. The rest of the band is Mac Powell is our singer and fearless leader in green. Brad Avery on the electric guitars, facial expressions. Mark Lee on guitar. One of my best friends, David Carr, on drums. He really didn't make it enough. Part of the ceiling fell on his head last night, but he didn't even miss a beat. He's a real trooper. But man, it is we're in a band, so we're not great at always reading our emails. So I wasn't totally prepared for a speech, but it's just having been there, maybe just a story or two of some of the things I've seen. And first of all, from all of us, and as there's just throughout this time, we are honored to be here with you guys, and just for all of us, man, let's just as we do this walk, we're all just people that have been impacted ourselves by what's happening there, and we're trying to. We talk a lot about being the hands and feet of Christ, and the hands part I always seems very tangible, and sometimes the feet part seems abstract. And so I think today we have a very tangible way to kind of be the feet of Christ, just as we make this short walk. There's been so much talk just in kind of larger circles just about vision and purpose and having an abundant life and what we do with our lives. And I'm sure even at your church you probably have vision meetings, and you have times the church gets together and seeks vision. And I heard some great teaching just a few weeks ago that says sometimes what comes before that, a necessary step, is just finding that righteous indignation. Is what is it that when you look at the world you kind of have a Popeye reaction to? You guys remember that, where he used to say, "I can't stand it and I can't stand it no more," right before he popped the spinach? Where it's like, what makes you look at the world and you go, man, this just isn't right, and we can't allow this to happen. And then from that intensity, I think that God begins to speak vision and purpose in effective ways that we can really make a difference. And for all of us, I know in the band, when we heard about what was happening in northern Uganda, it's a realm of emotions you feel. Of course you feel sad and you feel pity and compassion, but I think we all arrived at a place of feeling that righteous indignation, of feeling that anger, of going, this just isn't right. I mean, those of you guys that brought your kids here today, it's like the idea of them crossing the street by themselves. Your neighbors would call defects, and you'd be locked up and your kids taken, because we value our children so much. And so to think about a place where children are leaving their parents, and just some of the details when you're actually there, that you see that these kids that they're barefoot and that there aren't street lights, and you look on the dirt road and you see there's broken pieces of glass, and you see that as they go through the different kind of city centers, you see people hanging around that maybe have bad intentions, and you see these things, and it just makes you angry, because it just, I think right at our core, we just all know that it's just not right. And so today, I think is literally kind of it's a great step for us to make to kind of, because the thing is with anger is you can't just stay there. It can't just be a place where you get angry. And even when I came back from the trip, the guys can speak to, that's like, I kind of came back and it's like, how was the trip? And I was just kind of mad because of the things I've seen. And I was kind of mad, and I felt like, man, we just have no clue over here. And even as Christians and as Third Day fans, it's like, this isn't something we're going to care about. I mean, we just don't care. And you feel this anger because you feel like no one is hearing you on what's going on, and no one is responding to what's happening to these children. But I know all of us in the band have been so encouraged to see the incredible response of our community of fans, but also of the church in America, and even some of our officials that are catching on and going, this is the kind of thing that we can't allow to happen. And so I don't know how much to say, just except that it is amazing that you guys are here. It's not a small thing to, we have busy lives and activities, so to take a day and just for a couple miles to walk for these children, it is a big deal. And I guess what I would encourage us is just, man, as we go on this walk, it should be a great time, but also, I mean, I don't know the atmosphere that you would plan, but I think it would be appropriate for it to be somewhat solemn. And I think worship doesn't just have to happen inside of these buildings. Worship can be as simple of an expression as us walking, but as we're doing it, to be praying for these children, and maybe to be thinking about these children, and to think that, man, as we went to walk, we all found our, most of us, he's got some pretty cool boots on, but we get our athletic shoes, but these kids are walking barefoot, and we're walking in daylight, but man, these kids are walking in darkness. And as we're walking, most of us are pretty good, and that guy looks tough. We're not really worried about our security. These kids walk as very much at risk. And so I think just as we walk to think about those kind of things, I feel like just as much as what can happen inside of a church, and just as much as what can happen at a concert, that this walk could be an expression of worship where God is really honored. Because I think the thing is, when we find out about these situations and we get that righteous indignation that leads to this motivation to do stuff like this, we find that when we arrive at that place of seeing what's happening to these kids, that God's already there. And even though we can kind of come for a walk, and there's times we think about it and there's times we don't, but these children are always very close to the heart of God, and He's always conscious of what's happening to these children. So, I mean, that would just be my encouragement as we do this. Is like, let's really make this an expression of solidarity for these children. And even if this isn't tens of thousands of people, this isn't helicopters swarming ahead with news coverage, but we've seen firsthand what can come out of just a small gathering of people as we all continue to tell our friends and family and people we come in contact with what's happening there. Change is already happening. It's a slow process, but there's already incredible movements towards peace, which this is a situation that in the coming weeks, the coming months, and the coming years, I think things like this are going to better enable us to celebrate a day when this no longer happens and children no longer have to walk at night. So thank you guys so much for being here. This is going to be a great day.
Hey, I think the only thing left to be said is we're going to follow. The third day is going to kind of lead the walk. We're going to kind of put them in the front, and everybody's going to follow their lead, okay? So let's walk.